The Philippines has a rich history of architectural features, influenced by the culture of our indigenous ancestors and the colonizers that brought new ideas to our shores. For centuries, the country has continued to refine its cultural identity through continuous development, thanks to the endless inspiration that came from the prized designs and relics of the bygone eras. The first inhabitants of the Philippine Islands arrived between 3000 and 2000 before Christ. They were the Malay-Polynesian descent called Austronesians. Caves and rock shelters like the Tabon Cave in Palawan served as shelter for early Filipinos. Later on, the invention of various tools allowed for the fabrication of tent-like shelters and tree houses. Early pre-Hispanic houses were characterized by rectangular structures elevated on stilt foundations and covered by voluminous thatched roofs ornamented with gable finials, and its structure can be lifted as a whole and carried to a new site. In terms of architectural significance, the design of a traditional bahay kubo is supposed to be flexible and weather-resistant, complementing its over-simple design. One significant relic is the bahay kubo, known to others as the hut house or nipa hut. The bahay kubo was typically built with local resources like wood or bamboo, and they were kept off the ground with the use of stilts. Its simplicity allowed for natural lighting and ventilation, which suited the tropical climate of the country, and its elevation helped its owners get through low-level flooding. Developed using light materials, the structure turns into a portable home. Through the teamwork of a small community, a bahay kubo can be transported to another location rather than taking it apart and rebuilding it elsewhere. Eventually, the demand for larger houses rose during the Spanish reign. The successor of the bahay kubo was aptly named Bahay na Bato, which translates to stone house. These houses were reminiscent of the hut design, though its composition favored stronger, heavier materials and the use of more advanced building techniques. Beside the old houses, Baroque churches of the Philippines are Spanish colonial structures that bear an interesting origin. Spanish missionaries shared many things with the natives, including their knowledge in science and architecture. These religious men were the architects in designing the Baroque churches. The architecture of these churches is unique in a way that resembles fortresses while maintaining familiar Eastern European features. Today, these churches are considered as national cultural treasures by the Philippines and were included in the list of World Heritage Sites by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. The history of Philippine architecture is very rich in culture, and many of the structures of the old eras still stand as a reminder of the country's humble beginnings. Though its history is tainted by war and colonial misgivings, these buildings still represent the country's cultural heritage, and it is